How's it everyone? My name is Jake, and yes, today we're taking a look at the Busby Toys Air Warriors Baron. New in box Baron, though as you can tell from the intro, it's not going to be new in box or new in package for very long. I am going to open this. The Baron is a blaster that I've wanted for a long time, and I actually found two of these for sale on the same page on Mercari, one out of box and one in the box. The one out of box is already sold, so I got this one, and I honestly don't care about keeping this in the package because I want to actually play with it. And also because while this thing isn't exactly rare per se, it is hard to find. Like if you ask most people, I feel like most people do own a Baron, especially in this hobby, but you can't really find them for sale very often. But before I open that up, let's look at exactly what this packaging has to offer. So we of course have the Baron and all of its mega firing goodness, and yes, this thing does fire mega. If you've never seen this before, it fires what's called XL distance darts from Busby, or otherwise mega darts from Nerf. It has two of those said XL distance darts included, and on the back we can see the other offerings, the Air Max Boss and the Air Max Tyrant, both of which are also mega dart blasters. Time to commence operation. At what point do I say fuck it and just cut the twist ties off? It's now. The time is now. I'm gonna cut these damn things off. Okay, I got it out. And I resorted to using scissors because that Bowie knife honestly is not nearly as sharp as I feel it should be. But now that we got this thing out of the package, right away, my mind goes straight to this grip. The joke is that Busby is really bad at making grips for human hands, and while this isn't the worst grip ever, it definitely is really small. Now we can get these two darts out, and there we go. And this is everything you get in the Busby Baron. Those darts stick out a lot, but I'm sure there's something you can do to fix that. And so this is the Busby Baron. It's a very simple blaster. It has two barrels, fires two darts, and the actual mechanism inside this thing is so interesting. We'll get into it a little later, but it was released in 2015 alongside the Max and the Tyrant, and it was also released for $5. It's insane nowadays to think about how dirt cheap something like this was. A Mega Blaster for $5. This is the cheapest Mega Blaster of all time. But not only did they release the Baron, the Max, and the Tyrant, Busby also released a refill pack which included 12 of these XL distance darts. I happen to have one of those right here. And if you were upset by me opening up the Baron, you're going to be really upset because I'm going to open these up too. Well, not this one. This one actually is going to go on display. No, I actually have 4 more. I don't know why, but I feel like this is such a flex. I haven't heard or seen anything about anyone owning these new in package, and I have 5 of them. But I'm going to open 3 of these, and I'm going to keep one for display, and one of these is going to go to my Canadian arms dealer, my friend Shaz. But yes, here we have the 12-round refill pack for XL distance darts, and I'm gonna open these up right now. But first we need something to put these in. Got a Nerf camo ammo bag here. This will make for good temporary storage. I'm editing this part in after all the packs have been opened, just to let you guys know, on the back of the packs, it does advertise the other blasters, the Max and the Tyrant, but not only that, but it even says works with other major blaster brands. So yes, these darts are compatible with all your typical Nerf Mega Dart blasters. And as for the Mega Busby blasters, these too can fire official Nerf Mega Blasters. God damn it. So, take those out, and take these. These are literally the only 2 official Nerf Mega Darts I have, which means I own more XL distance darts than official Hasbro Mega Darts. But yeah, you can see they do fit just right, and this is honestly the first time I've ever fired this thing. And I feel like it's blasphemy to fire Nerf darts for the first time out of a Busby blaster. But, suck it up, and it fires them incredibly violently. That was so cool. Oh man. Watch out, guys. Uh-oh. There we go. So here they are, side by side, and something that I also think is funny is placing it next to a Mega XL dart, and XL distance darts next to a Mega XL dart. That's incredibly funny. In fact, this might be illegal. Oh yeah, it fits right in there. Oh, that's terrible. Putting the proper ammo back into it. But yeah, this thing is cool. We'll talk about it more in a little bit. Let's open up those ammo packs. And the first 12 Ah, it couldn't just be clean. Alright. Oh, well, there we go. For the most part. As for the condition these darts are in, a few of them are a little bent up. But honestly, for being like, what, 9 years old, they're in okay condition. I've definitely seen worse. Now that all of our ammo has been packed away, I actually have a couple of people to introduce you guys to. I've mentioned a few times now that the Baron was released alongside the Air Max Boss and the Air Max Tyrant, which also fired the XL distance darts, and while I don't have those with me, I know a couple of people who do. Introducing first, Brickosaurus 227.
Hello everyone, Brickosaurus 227 here, and I was asked by Foam Battalion to take a look at a really cool Buzzbee blaster. Buzzbee Air Warriors Tyrant. This released back in the Air Max series, which is kind of weird because these weren't really air pump blasters, these were just kind of your standard, you know, top prime springers. I believe it released for like $20–30, and that's a really good price for what you get here. And this is obviously a direct competitor to the Nerf Mega Centurion. Now, it may not look like that on the outside because the Centurion is a completely different looking blaster, but it is definitely a Centurion competitor because it does take the Centurion's magazine, which is really cool. However, it's also compatible with the Moto Strike mag, which is neat as well. However, I don't think this looks as good in the blaster. The included mag is absolutely massive. It is a 12-round Mega Mag, and yes, before you ask, this is 100% Centurion compatible. And I think this mag is superior because the 12-round Mega Mag was unheard of, and especially at the time. It operates like a Retaliator, basically enough, almost the same as the Buzzbee Boss. You pull back the top prime, and it have it in all the way. You pull back the top prime, and then you hit the mag release at the bottom here, and you can get, well, theoretically, if you don't have a one like mine, you can get it out just like that. And you just load it with some mega rounds. But once you load your mega rounds into your magazine, you simply insert it in. It's basically a Retaliator but supersized. Push it forward and you put your hand on this foregrip here, which is really nice. I like the foregrip, it's pretty good. Then you fire and you prime it. And again, I really like this prime because it's a very wide and comfortable prime for big or small hands alike. The grip itself is amazing and the trigger pull is great too. I really do like the colors of this series and it really works with this blaster, making it look really bold and just beautiful. The top Retaliator prime, even though it's awkward in this blaster, it's not uncomfortable, and once you get used to it, it's really not bad. It performs very well for a blaster like this, and at the time, it performed better than the Centurion to my knowledge. You're getting pretty good ranges for a blaster like this, and it's just really nice how well it's designed. I don't know why people forgot about it. I think it's because the Boss was so much better at the time for being the same blaster technically, but smaller. However, this does appear to have a bit more mod potential. Someone I know who is Shaz, he modded his. I mean, and by the way, check out his channel, great collector. Some great videos, some really cool content. He doesn't upload much, but some amazing content nonetheless. And he actually modded his very easily to get to 100 FPS, which for a Mega Blaster is really good. Basically, he took a recon spring to double up the existing spring. Then he plugged all the areas that air might have escaped, and he removed the air restrictor. And boom, his Mega Darts were shooting about 100 FPS, which is really cool. Now, I know this is not my video, but if I did ever have to give it a rating, I'd probably give it like a 9 or 8 out of 10. It's kind of good. The only thing I don't like is that it's kind of awkward the way you have to use such a big blaster with a top prime like this. It just doesn't fit. All right, let's take a look at the internals. Alright, so the internals are fairly simple. We're just going to take a look specifically at this part, oh, the whole part here, and pretty simply designed. The air restrictor is right there, so it's pretty easy to get in there and get it out. I don't have the tools for that at the moment. The spring is huge, but very thin. In fact, I don't think I have a good enough spring to double this up with. And it's pretty easy to reassemble. Let me do a little bit of a guide here to help you. Now, one thing you want to do is to line up these two parts here with these here, and this part right here moves around kind of freely, so you got to be sure to line that up. This thing is a dream to put back together, and I forgot to mention the plunger tube is quite massive, so yeah, good mod potential in this thing for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to bring on back to Foam Battalion.
I gotta give a huge thanks to Brick for helping out with this video covering the Tyrant. Really appreciate it. Did a great job. If you want to see some of his Nerf content, which he has a lot of great Nerf content, and if you're into it, some Lego content as well, a link to his YouTube channel will be in the description. And up next, we have Drift68, or as you might know him from Printables, IShootFoam, covering the Air Max Boss.
Hi, I'm Drift, or IShootFoam, or whatever the hell you want to call me. I'm not that relevant. And this is the Air Max, Air Warriors, Buzzbee, whatever they want to call it, Boss. It's very similar to the Tyrant in that it's a mag-fed top prime mega springer, except it's just a lot smaller and it doesn't hit quite as hard, although it still definitely outperforms most Nerf mega blasters by at least a little bit. The blaster was released in two colors. There's this very common blue, and there's a much rarer green variant, which I do not have here. And I also don't have the mag it came with, because I lost it. I have it somewhere. It looks exactly the same as the Tyrant's 12 round, except it only sticks out the bottom about a centimeter. And it only holds about 4 rounds. This one is thrifted, as you can tell by the shredded Goodwill sticker. So performance and accuracy should be taken with a grain of salt, because who knows what this thing's been through. But this one is not modded in any way. Although if you were to mod it, good luck, because they glued this front muzzle piece on here. To operate the blaster, you just slide the top back, take your magazine, put it in the bottom, lock it in, just like any other magazine, and then push, slide forward, till it clicks into place, and it has a lock so you can't slide it back after it's been primed until you fire it. And then from there, you just pull the trigger, and it fires a dart at about 70 FPS on average. I'm just using Mega Darts, a mix of AccuStrike and regular Mega. I'm using mostly fresh ones, but I can't make any promises here because I don't have any original Buzzbee Megas. So at the range, which I'll show you next, it's about as accurate as a Nerf Magnus. It just hits a little harder. Assuming you can get it open, the internals should look something like that, what's on screen. And modding these, I've definitely modded one before. It's not necessarily hard, but they don't take new springs very well, and their restrictor's kind of annoying to remove. It's not quite as bad as removing the one out of the Magnus, but you still kind of need to mess around with pliers, a hammer, and a flathead. But the reason it doesn't really take new springs that well is because back here, there's a catch assembly that the spring needs to go around. and the plunger head, the spring goes inside of. So the plunger head, the spring needs to be thin enough to go into the plunger head, but still wide enough to go around the catch assembly. Assuming you can get a spring in there, or you use a spacer or something, you find a good upgrade spring. The catch is like a very similar mechanism to, say, the Snapfire, in that it just has a little sear that catches on a lip on the plunger head, so there isn't a whole lot of surface area. So what I did in the one I modded, I wasn't able to get it to take a spring upgrade, but I did file down the plastic by the lip on the plunger head, so the lip was a little larger so the catch could get on there a little better, and it gave it a nice firm click when it caught. So the grip on these, surprising, I know, because it's Busby, is actually pretty comfortable, although they do continue the little button mag release that's pretty unforgivable. I don't know why they did that. The slides on these, though, are definitely a lot sturdier than on the Magnus, so if you were able to work around the catch, the rest of the blaster should be able to take a spring pretty well. But in my experience modding these, if you were able to get a spring, and this is assuming you don't sealed breach it or anything with Mega Darts, you could probably make these hit close to 110. The one I modded just had the air restrictor out, the catch improved, and then some locks removed, and I think I also did the seal a little nicer. And I think I got that one to around 90 FPS, which for Mega Darts is actually more than enough. Now we're outside for the range test. Friendly reminder, kids, touch grass, you don't want to end up like your Uncle Joe. Trust me, you really don't. So it clears the street pretty easily. See, the wind takes the darts really easy because they're pretty big. They have lots of surface area. So if we walk from where we're standing across the street to where the darts went, that was at maybe a 10-degree angle. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. You can see one dart ended up over there, and one right over here. So I'd say that's about 30, 40 feet to... I'd say that's between 30 to 50 feet range. But again, it depends on angle, wind, a lot of things, darts. That's about all for the Baron. It's a pretty simple blaster, so, in the bin! Are you okay?
And we're back outside, this time on the range, with, of course, Busby Baron. I have this thing right now just sitting in my typical eBay special thigh rig holster. It's not the most optimized rig ever, just because for some reason it's sitting low today, and because the Baron itself is just so straight, it doesn't want to sit inside, and the dart sticking out are also an issue. So it's not the most optimized rig. Like I said, I may need to get foam bando to make me a custom one, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about how this performs. Now, comparing it directly to the Magnus, which I sadly don't have one, this is supposed to hit harder than a Magnus, and when you think about it, for $5 you can have something that outperforms the Magnus at the cost of also just -1 ammo capacity. You tell me what you prefer, this or the Magnus. I honestly prefer this one, but I still want a Magnus just because the Magnus actually was one of my first blasters before actually getting into the hobby when I was a kid. The Baron also is just stupidly simple. It front loads darts just like that. Top prime, which is buttery smooth. The grip, like I said, it's okay. It's a grip. It's fine for me. And yeah, now we can just get on into this. And I have all, what is that, 12 times 3, 36 darts in the camo bag here on my belt. So we're just gonna run through all these, and we shouldn't have any failures. If we do, I'll be surprised a lot. So here we go. Oh, that was really straight. That one, not so much. This is so fun. I'm not hitting a lot of targets, but shooting these big ass darts is just so fun. Let's go hit fire. The thing about Mega Darts as well is that because you have to lob such a huge projectile down range, it means there's more air volume in here and inherently more power. But they don't hit very good ranges, per se, but just at this distance, it's pretty accurate, it's pretty straight. Also, because of how big and blue these things are, they're going to be really easy to find after you shoot them. Yeah, the second shot doesn't seem to be as powerful as the first, but that's to be expected. You may think that this is a smart AR system, but Hasbro actually has the smart AR patented. No one can really replicate that. So the internals in here are really, really cool, and I can't wait to talk about them. It doesn't work the way you think it does. That's all I'm going to say. I keep hitting so close. I've only had one hit so far. I have no doubt, though, that at this range, you could definitely hit a person-sized target. So for science purposes, Bonka is out here, and now she's going to shoot me with a XL distance dart and see how this feels. Oh! Oh! It wanted to suction to my tongue. It doesn't hurt that bad, but seeing it come towards me definitely was a little terrifying. Now, at the risk of possibly breaking this, can it slam fire? Oh, actually! Well, okay, it kind of can. Not the best. I don't know if it's so much slam fire more as it is just spring-assisted camp fire. Got a hit. Ah, God, almost. In order to aim this thing, I'm basically putting the back of the blaster over the target and just hoping that works. And that seems to not really be doing the trick. Okay, well that time I couldn't even see. I hit something. And again, almost. You wouldn't think that a sticky dart would be as accurate as this, but it actually is pretty okay. And just because I'm not hitting targets, that doesn't mean it's not accurate. These things are flying really straight. And like I said before, no doubt, these things can for sure hit a man-sized target. Person-sized target. Sorry, it's 2024. You can do whatever you want to be. Hit. Miss. Okay, so we didn't get a lot of hits, but I'm going to repeat it for the third time. It is stupid how straight these things fire. Also, just how fun and satisfying it is to fire and operate the Baron. This thing is great. Alright, so now I'm going to record the intro to this video, and in the future, Jake, we'll see you guys back inside. Alright, and now that we're back inside, finally I get to talk about how this thing works, what makes it tick. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Baron, you probably expect this thing to use a smart AR system. But like I had said on the firing range, Hasbro has a smart AR system patented, so Buzzbee had to go in a different direction. The Buzzbee Baron uses what I'm calling a rotating AR system, or a rotating plunger system. Basically, on prime, the entire plunger tube rotates, and at the end of the plunger tube is a series of holes that decide which barrel is going to get the airflow. So, plunger tube rotates on prime, and now one of these barrels has a seal, and the other barrel has the air. Which means that it doesn't just simply fire from top to bottom, it fires whichever barrel has the air next. See, that time it was the top barrel. But now what this means is, if you have it loaded the wrong way, or with only one dart, and it doesn't have it on the proper barrel, then you can entirely misfire. But this is part of why I love the Baron so much. It's not just a fun blaster to play with, it is so unique. It's such a cheap blaster with unique internals. I love it. Now, full transparency, it does have a tendency to shotgun darts, which is honestly kind of cool, but it's not meant to do that. And I think that might just be because these are Buzzbee darts, and while these are really cool darts, they get damaged pretty easily, and while firing them, I think they got a little beat up. So it could just be the darts. I don't think it's entirely the mechanism. If I had some Hasbro darts, I would test those, but for the flex, I'm happy to just have a bunch of these and use these. And now usually right now I would go into detail about the mod potential it has and some notable mods, which there is actually one notable mod from Mr. Nathan where he integrates a Baron into a incredible, I can't even describe it. It's an amazing job. It's a crossbolt with a strife, and it's beautiful. You can check it out. A link will be in the description to that. But other than that, I want to talk about Mega as a whole now. Now, I'm not going to include any Fortnite blasters that fire Mega in this conversation because you can still occasionally find those at discount stores if you're lucky, but there has not been a serious Mega blaster release since 2020 with the Moto Strike. That's 4 years since the last standalone Mega release. And the last standalone Mega Blaster in general was the Sharp 92 in 2023. And while the Sharp 92 is a great blaster and it's a good callback to the vintage sharpshooter, it doesn't do Mega justice. Mega is a beloved ammo type with some wars and events even giving it special abilities. And of course, playing with these and getting a hit or a tag is so satisfying. Sending one of these down range is never going to not be fun. And figuring out new and creative ways to do so in of itself is something fun and challenging. But now Mega Darts aren't yet available on store shelves. You can still find Mega Darts online, but as its own series of blasters, it's just non-existent aside from what us in the hobby do with it. A good example being Paper Skeletons with the Riveter. Hasbro or even someone new like Dart Zone or X-Shot has the opportunity to bring back and revive an ammo type that has seen no real love in a very long time. In fact, now that Nerf has gone pro and they revived the Rival series with the AccuRounds, this should be their next move. This would be a great time to revive Rival. We need more Mega Blasters. I mean, hell, we got Elite 2.0. Who's to say they can't just give us Mega 2.0? They're leaving money on the table. But that's about all I got for you guys today. Let me know which Buzzbee Mega Blaster is your favorite, or your favorite Mega Blaster in general. And another thanks to Brickosaurus 227 and IShootFoam. They did a great job with this video, and I really appreciate the help. It was so fun getting to put together this collaboration. And remember, Foam and Fortune is coming up very soon, May 25th at Manzanita Heights Park in Palmdale, California. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe and hit the bell notifications if you want to be notified if you want to make more content, because doing so does encourage me to make more content, and I will see you guys next time.